talk about that and all the other issues at the moment in the area, to talk to our senior reporter, Catherine Norris-Trent, who joins us from Jerusalem. Catherine, another highly controversial strike here, this time hitting an aid centre. Bring us up to date on that and the latest with the aid situation in Gaza as a whole. We're hearing this ship full of aid may arrive this afternoon or over the next few days.
Hi there, Stuart. Yes, so the Israeli military says they carried out a strike in Rafah, which is, of course, in the southern part of the Gaza Strip, where more than 1.5 million people displaced, many of them several times over, have been sheltering, and that they killed a Hamas militant who'd been central in providing intelligence to Hamas and had also been involved in distribution of food aid to the group. For their part, the Hamas-run Palestinian authorities there say that the number of people were killed in that strike, including a UN staff member. And we know that UNRWA, the UN Agency for Refugees, put out a statement saying that one of their staff members had been killed and at least 22 others injured in that strike, which they said was on a food distribution centre in the eastern part of Rafah. And they said that this comes as the crisis over food aid continues to get worse. Again, their head warning of the risk of famine in the area. We know that this ship, an aid ship carrying 200 tons of aid, is slowly sailing through the Mediterranean. It set sail from Larnaca in Cyprus, hoping to get to a makeshift port, which is reportedly being constructed on the shoreline of Gaza. Much needed aid there, of course, especially in northern parts of the Gaza Strip, where there are some 300,000 people still reported to be there, and they've been struggling for weeks to get enough food. And we've seen very chaotic and deadly scenes there. So huge questions about how this aid can get to them, how it will be distributed once it reaches the port, and of course the fighting continuing in Gaza there.
And Catherine, it comes as well as the IDF is talking about moving civilians out of the Gazan town of Rafah into what it's calling a humanitarian island so that it can enter into Rafah.
Yeah, this is new language we've been hearing from the Israeli military this Thursday. Their spokesman saying in a press point that Israel hoped to move civilians from Rafah, that city again where they've been packed in, to, quote, humanitarian islands, perhaps in central parts of the Gaza Strip. Now, we don't have many more details on what that would involve at this stage. And of course, the logistics of moving these people, how that would work, how they would get shelter, food, water, sanitation systems. It could be a huge logistical operation, but that's something the Israeli military say they're considering now. And of course, they've been under pressure for some time from the US to try and look after the civilian population of Rafah. Increasingly stern words from the Biden administration. But this is interesting, a new point that's been reported on the Politico website. They are quoting an anonymous Biden administration official saying that the US would support a limited Israeli incursion into Rafah with the aim of focusing on taking out Hamas leadership there, but only if the civilian population can be looked after. So that's a big if there, of course, but I think it's significant if that does become confirmed, because if they are supporting some kind of limited incursion, then that could see the gap perhaps closing slightly between the Israeli and American government's objectives there.
Catherine, thanks very much. Catherine Norris-Trent, our senior reporter, talking to us there from Jerusalem.